going on, guys? Welcome back to the NMT podcast, man, where we talk about life, sports, and diving into social issues or any issues at all. And today, the podcast is going to be about motivation, discipline, and I'm going to tell you guys a story about what it was like to be a walk-on. So I want to start with this. I want to start with why do people lack motivation? What is the key thing that makes people lack motivation, right? So, first of all, it's lack of goals. If you have no goals at all, you're not going to be able to excel in anything you do because you're not pushing towards that goal. You don't have a goal to push towards to. The next thing is boredom. You know, we've all felt it. We all know what boredom is. So, being bored has something to do with motivation because if you're not happy with what you're doing, you're going to be bored. The next thing I want to go into is the lack of not being able to stress release yourself, so relieve yourself of stress. And that comes from finding something you enjoy to do. For me, it's golf, video games, playing my guitar, hanging out with my family. That's what I do. But for you, it could be something totally different. Next is a statistic I wanted to bring up that's pretty sad. 85% of people in America hate their jobs. Think about that. 85%. So you go to school with 2,000 people. A lot of those people are not going to enjoy the job that they're in. So why? Why is that? Well, like I mentioned before, it's lack of goals, being bored, and doubting yourself. I mean, doubting yourself is probably one of the biggest things. You can't get far in anything you're doing if you're doubting yourself. I personally believe that if you don't doubt yourself and you just go full throttle in it, it'll at least teach you a lesson. And, God's going to look down and be like, you did that, you listened to me. So I want to follow up with, is college worth it, right? 85% of people in America hate their job. So is it even worth going to get the piece of paper? I want to tell you about a story of a college dropout that I know who lives in my own house and who makes so much money it's ridiculous. And that's my dad. So my dad growing up, he grew up not well off. He had to work in a steel mill and shovel coals and ash out of the fires so they could keep it going. That was one of his jobs, one of his first jobs at 16. He worked there for a year, quit that job, and then worked at a technology store, which he loved. Kind of, the owner was not really the best guy in America. He was kind of a doucher, but, that's something for him I think he learned a lot about. And the next thing is he was going to college, and he couldn't afford it. He told himself, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Dropped out of college, went into the military, the National Guard. He was in the reserves. Was a crew chief. And then after that, he started on his IT PMP technology path, which is what me and my brother are doing. That's what I'm majoring in. So now he makes, I don't even know how much he makes. He makes a shit ton of money. So what does this story teach you? Well, my dad doesn't have the piece of paper, first off. He doesn't have, he just didn't want to go. You sit in a class for 2 hours and you learn absolutely nothing. They just give you assignments, say do it. In the first 2 years, you're doing math, science, English, math. You're doing the same stuff. It's nothing different. So I go to college my first semester and all I'm learning about is it's the same stuff I learned in high school. It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous, personally. I think we have a failed education system. They're trying to make people into a 9-to-5 job worker, which is great. You make a great living, but if you want to be successful, that's not really the path you want to go unless you're in a field that you can excel in. And I want to also follow up with this. Let's say you go to college and you want to be a doctor. A lot of doctors have around $150,000 to $200,000 in debt. They make really good money, but it takes them 15 or 20 years to pay it off. So you're constantly paying the college off that you were just at. I mean, what does that tell you? It tells you very simply that you go to college and they want all of this money for a piece of paper that honestly you don't need to have. It's not a bad thing. I know a lot of guys that are going to trade school right now that I went to high school with that are probably going to make a very good living because they decided to go to a trade school, learn how to weld, learn how to plumb. Especially in Arizona where I live, there is so much need for air conditioning, guys. It's crazy. I think it's called HVAC or something like that. If you own one of those companies, you're going to make a great living because out here, air conditioning goes out all the time. Like, I've been a part of it. People have had to come and fix it. Like, we all know that that's what it is. And then you have welders. Underwater welders, where you go to a trade school, you learn how to weld. It is one of the most dangerous jobs in America, don't get me wrong. I would not want to do it. You learn how to scuba dive, you get your welding license, you become a underwater welder, a deep water welder. So they make around $300,000 a year. You know, I mean, they make more than a lot of people make in 3 or 4 years, 10 years, 15 years. They make more than a lot of average Americans. So I think it's just absolutely ridiculous that people push you to go to college and to pay all of this money when is it really worth it? Is it really something that you want to do? Now, the only reason I'm going to college is because I'm getting a scholarship. I'm getting it paid for. If I wasn't getting college paid for, I don't know if I would go. I would just try and make my own way, maybe start up a company. I own my own detailing company, so that's kind of like where I'm at right now with, learning how to learn the ropes of owning a company, finances, being able to put things into a spreadsheet, being able to analyze data, statistical data. Like, you learn all of that just by a car detailing business. And I'm going to link that below. It's called Teisler Detailing. Let me know if you guys need your cars detailed. I always do a good job. Always hand waxed, everything is done by hand, no machines. No extra stuff left on the car. It's always going to be clean. So now I want to get into this discipline part of it, because discipline and motivation go hand in hand. I truly believe that if you don't have discipline, then motivation's not worth anything. You could be so motivated, right, to go do something so special in your life, but if you don't have steps and you're not disciplined to be able to get up in the morning and go, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6:30 a.m., I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go to the gym at 9:30, and then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. If you are able to do that, you'll change your life. You'll change your life. I believe that. I mean, being in college, especially when you're at a Division I school, and any school, if you play at NAIA, D3, D2, D1, D1 AA, wherever you're at, consider yourself lucky, man, because a lot of people don't get to experience what we all get to experience. Now, is there some stuff that comes with that? 100%. You have workouts every day. You have practice every day. It's 2-3 hour practices. You're fried by the end of the day. And then you still got to go to school. So it's a different life than a normal student. But what I would say to the normal students out there is, are you getting as much out of your education as you're putting into it? All of this money that you're putting into it. Because I have debt. I was a walk-on. I didn't get anything. For me, it wasn't worth it. I'm just going to be flat out with you guys. It wasn't worth it. Went there. I owe $10,000 in debt to a school that I wasn't happy at and I would never go back to. And I love the university and stuff. It was the football program to me just wasn't what fit what I wanted to do, and I wanted to build my own legacy. And having my brother play there is not really a way to build your own legacy. Now, he's going to be on the podcast next week. Make sure you guys tune into that. I'm super excited about it. I know a lot about him, but I don't know his whole story. So that's something that I'm super pumped to learn about, how he got through the challenges that he got through. Because I remember as a kid, he would do the same things that I do, go out and kick. But I want to know what his mentality was to get there. So paying for school, if you have a job and you can pay for it, great. Community college, I think community college is great. You get your associate's degree. What do you have? Maybe $5,000-$6,000 in debt? That's great. You can pay that off in a few years. But what you can't pay off in a few years is $100,000 in debt. I think it's ridiculous. Like I said, I don't agree with college whatsoever. I think that there's so many other career paths, and I'm gonna give you guys now my story about being a walk-on and what it's done to me as a person and how I've grown from it. I have so much respect for the normal student. I have so much respect for the people who say, I want to change their life. Like, they want to change their own life. I have so much respect for those people because it takes a person that is willing to go as far as it possibly takes to make a dream become a reality. And all of us are at different walks of life, man. Some of us are super depressed. Some of us are super, they're high in the clouds. They're living on lavish sheets and drinking Fiji water from the water fountains. I mean, everybody's at different walks of life. But what I will say is, think about creating something that you want. It doesn't have to be money. For me, happiness to me is I'm going to sit down one day with my wife and my kids in a nice house, drive a few nice cars, and be able to just live happily and be able to be there for my kids, because I don't want to have a life where I'm never involved in my kids' life. That's just something I'm not really interested in. Now, what I will say is when you dream about it and you really visualize it, you have to visualize it clearly. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm going to mention him a lot on this podcast because to me, the stuff that he says is just so good and it's so true. When you have a clear direction of where you're going, nothing else matters. If you're going to, let's just say you want to be a successful businessman like myself, like you really want to do that, and all you can see is a little tunnel, and you just want to go straight through it, then all the other stuff doesn't matter. Partying, drinking, going out, all that stuff is great, right? I mean, I don't do it. I enjoy being at home. I enjoy being with my family. I enjoy being with the people that I love. I think that when you're going through a stage of growth and you're going through a stage of trying to change your life, that tunnel that you've created for yourself is the most comfortable thing. You're so satisfied with yourself. You have so much confidence. And I wish that everybody that watches this channel can have that. I want everybody to take the stuff that I'm putting out and put it into their life, because as a creator, that's what you want. You want people to listen, and you want people to really think about what you're saying. And I want you guys to understand that you can change your life in a year. It's not about making money. Money is great. Everybody wants to make a lot of money. It's the truth. Everybody wants to be able to be financially free. But success can mean so many different things. It could mean, for me, having a wife and kids. It could be for somebody else, I want to own a company. I don't care how much money it makes. Whatever it is, drive towards it. Don't stop. Drive towards it. Don't let anybody tell you something different. When I was in high school, people, and even in 8th grade, people would laugh at me. I'd go to the park and kick a ball. They're like, what are you doing? That's not a life. That's not something you want to do. But it is. It means so much to me, and I love punting. Love it. I love the pressure. I love everything about it. It's not even about playing college football. It just teaches you so much about being detail-oriented, because to be able to hit a spiral on a punt is like a quarterback throwing a pass that is so perfectly, there's no wobble or anything. That's kind of how it is in punting. You have to be perfect. And I want everybody to take the motivation and discipline aspect and add it to your life today, man. Add it to your life and move forward. Don't look back. Just keep going forward. Don't listen to what others say. Everybody has an opinion. You ask 10 people the opinion, they're going to have 10 different opinions. Don't ask for an opinion, just do it. Just do it. Like for me, I had doubts about starting a podcast, but I was like, I have so much to tell people and I have so much to give to people. I just want to make everybody's life better, because I know that a lot of people struggle. And myself, I struggle. Everybody struggles, but I just want to be an outlet for people so they can keep going towards what they want to go towards. Like I said, whatever it is, man, do it. Do it right. And don't look back. Just keep going. And you're going to find success. And that success is going to be what you want it to be. I guarantee it. As long as you have a clear vision of where you're going. I think, on topic, man. walk-on life, what is it? How did you get through it? And if I wanted to be a walk-on, what should I know? Well, the first thing is being a walk-on, it sucks, but it's the most rewarding thing ever, especially when you get praise from other people, when you get praise from your coaches and your teammates. I mean, it's the best thing in the world. I also think it's very hard. It's very hard for your mental because you're not wanted on that team as a scholarship guy. Like a scholarship guy's getting paid. They know your name. They know who you are. They know where you went to high school. They know everything about you. As a walk-on, they don't really know a lot about you. You got to kind of make your own path. You got to kind of pave your own way and just keep a stable and mental head so where you can just be like everything that's thrown at you, just kind of, bounce it off. So being a walk-on, I would say for somebody who is going to be a walk-on, here's a few things I would say. First of all, is it something you really want to do? Is it something that you're like, I need to do it? Do you want to play college athletics? NAIA, D2, D3, D1, whatever it may be. Where do you want to go that you want to go to school to? Is that the place you want to go? Make sure it is, because I made the mistake. I really thought I wanted to go to New Mexico State, and I didn't. And now I'm end up paying for it after I'm done with college. So that's the first thing. Find the school you want to go to. Make sure you have tape. If your tape is semi-decent, they will allow you to come into their school and be like, you have a spot on our roster. We're not guaranteeing you anything. You're no money, no nothing. So it's basically a preferred walk-on if you have the tape. Now, let's just say you don't have tape. You don't have good tape. You still want to play college football, or you want to play college volleyball, or you want to play whatever, badminton. I mean, anything, man. It's there's D1 athletics for everything. So make sure that if you don't have tape, you go to the coaching and you talk to them. Make sure that they're allowing you to try out for the team, or if they're just going to allow you to be on the team or on the roster, and go to work. That's it. Go to work. Those are the three things that I have. Find the school you want to go to. Make sure you have tape. If you don't have tape, talk to the coaching staff and work your ass off. That's it. 3 key goals to success. That's it. Also take care of your mental. Make sure that you are doing, self-care stuff we talk about all the time, especially in today's generation. It's not really talked about enough, but make sure you're doing things that you enjoy. Like I mentioned earlier in this podcast, my guitar, going to golf, whatever it may be, make sure you guys are doing it, man. It's key to stepping away from the sport that you're playing. Maybe even watching the sport too. Watching football, watching volleyball, watching badminton, watching pickleball, whatever it may be, tennis. Watching it is kind of a little different. You think about it, but you don't at the same time. You just kind of take a step back and you just relax. You kick your feet up and you relax. So make sure, man, if you're going to be a walk-on, those 3 things that I mentioned, always put them into consideration. Also figure out how much you're paying for school. If you have a scholarship for the academic part of it, use it, man. I'm telling you, use it. You could get your school paid for mostly. That's all you need. And I want to kind of end this podcast on a good note. I have my brother coming on the podcast next week. Super excited about it. I also want to give a shout out to UAPB football. I'm really excited to come out there. I'm going to stay in contact with you guys. Super excited about that. And that's about it for today's episode, man. I really appreciate you guys listening in. Like I said, it's going to get better. Quality is going to get better and everything. I just got to get some equipment. I have some equipment on the way. I actually have a mic. I just got to figure out how to use it. So that's kind of where we're looking at. And going forward, we have the podcast with my brother. I have a podcast coming up with Timothy Tynan. He was the kicker at Basha, the school that I went to. Super cool. One of my buddies. We're going to do a podcast, talk about his life a little bit. And then moving forward, we're going to be talking about some other things. I don't know yet. If you guys want to leave a comment, send me a text on Snapchat or whatever, do that, man. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys soon.